WHAZZAPP? Welcome to the Odyssey. I listened to this before, but I wanted to hear it over again because it's been a while. So, big fan of Mass Effect, and the thing I love about these types of games is there's more than just one story to tell. There's a whole web of stories. I was about to go all complex with my words there, but I messed it up. There's a whole web of stories interwoven into the other story that connects. Well, they may not all connect, but it kind of just makes the world, the whole universe, that much bigger. And it's beautiful. Even if these stories are short and may not really connect at all to the main story, it still leaves an impact because you see there are other things that are happening. And that's what I love about these types of games that have these side content in it. So, unfortunately, these are 10 heartbreaking Mass Effect backstories, but maybe in the future, if I can find some other backstories, we can do some more lighthearted ones. But this is from Mass Effect 3 mainly, so Mass Effect 3, a lot of stuff went down. The link to the original video will be in the description below. Do be sure to support the official release. Yeah, buddy. Good channel, by the way. Love Gameranx.
Exploration and shooty guns. There's actually a lot of pretty heart-wrenching stuff that happens.
They are, don't cry.
Today on GameRanks, here's 10 heartbreaking
background
stories from Mass Effect. Number 10, the Turian CSEC officer comforting the teenage girl waiting for her parents. Now, this is obviously not something that you see ahead of time. When you approach, you learn more about it. You learn that her parents are overdue, and given the context that it's after the attack on the Citadel that you're able to come into contact with her, it's kind of a fair assumption to say that they're gone, which isn't nice. It's one of the many times that Mass Effect immediately makes you care about something without even really knowing much about it. You feel for this character, even though you don't know them. You know what they're going through. Uncertainty. And
it's a teenager.
Number 9, the story of Antigone, who was an Asari commando.
I'm afraid who all was even lost during the trilogy.
She and a few
like,
other
who all
commandos
died.
went on a mission to a planet to assist some humans. One of the other commandos was indoctrinated and turned into a banshee and attacked the humans. Ian and a human woman by the name of Hillary eventually tried to sneak into a farm where everybody was being held to steal a radio and signal for help. As they snuck in, they found out that some farmers were still alive and they freed them. But guess what? They were indoctrinated. Long story short, they attacked, and in order to get away, Ian had to kill Hillary, whose leg had broken, and she was essentially alerting the commander who had been turned into a banshee, and in order to get away, she couldn't survive. The commander had PTSD and continually asks for a gun of Commander Shepard. If that request is granted, she commits suicide. And I can kind of understand it, because the commander that had been transformed into a banshee was that commando's significant other. Number 8, 2 soldiers, one Asari.
I've never run into
and
these stories.
Are married. The Asari's already been sent off, and the human is also about to be. But their daughter, an Asari, is an abomination according to their family. Because, you know, racism. In order to attempt to keep this child safe, the human soldier spends all of their time attempting to get her back to her Asari family on Thessia, and eventually an embassy worker manages to make it happen for her. And then Thessia is destroyed by the Reapers. I don't even know if I need to say anything about why this is horrible, but
can you imagine?
Number
I
7,
just got here, and this is happening.
In Mass Effect 2, you come across a video of a Quarian woman basically saying her goodbyes. The very last
I've heard of this
thing
one.
she says was "Mommy loves you very much" to her child Jonah, and then she's shot. In Mass Effect 3, during a mission to rescue Admiral Chorus, there's a dying Quarian man. And what are his last words?
Not that
to
one.
tell Jonah that he made it to the homeworld. The same Jonah. And Jonah's parents both died fighting for what they believed in, for their very lives.
I didn't know these connected until I heard a Mass Effect
you hear a
podcast.
doctor talking to a civilian
Years
over
after the
radio.
fact.
She's with a soldier who is dying, and their field medic got killed. The doctor kind of helps her figure out what to do with Metagel, but it's not enough, and he, well, dies. Now, obviously, she's sad, trying to help somebody, doing whatever she can, but then, off in the distance, you hear Reapers. She sees the Reaper forces approaching and makes a decision. She doesn't want to be discovered and turn into a husk. She very calmly resigns herself to her fate, says goodbye to the doctor, and takes her own life. Number 5, it's a little bit less specific, but in Mass Effect 2, the Normandy's destroyed, and a lot of people died. If you ever go back and play Mass Effect 1, sort of roam among the crew, talking to people that had lives, had things to do,
Yeah.
goals, and even some people that didn't have much to say at all.
Like
that you
Exo
couldn't
Presley.
talk to, that you never got to know. It's kind of awful. All these people died. On the same note, going from Mass Effect 1 to 2, Tali'Zorah was kind of secretly in love with Shepard during the first game. Depending on exactly what happened, she kind of had to just watch. Then she thinks Shepard's dead for a very long time, and when they finally meet up, what should be a happy moment is kind of marred by the fact that her squad has been massacred. Well, that's not the only time that happens either. It happens again later. Basically, everything that happens to Tali'Zorah sucks. And through
Tally's
your
my
own
favorite.
choices, you may not encounter hardly any of it.
The mating
Number
call.
3, the
Wild
experiments
goose.
on the Geth. Now, this may not sound like a tear-jerker if I just say it, but it takes a little bit of thinking. The Geth are synthetic life, but they're life. And the Quarians were trying to figure out how to kill them, how to essentially destroy all of them, which is, I don't know if you knew I was going to use this word, but basically genocide. And in order to figure it out, they essentially reassembled a bunch of defeated Geth and tested out ways of killing them. It's horrific if you think about it.
It is.
And if
It
you
really
were to
is.
think about it as life, synthetic may it be, it's tough not to feel for that. Number 2 on Ilium.
'Cause they are
Hanging around
life.
a
They do
souvenir
become life in a
kiosk,
way.
You can hear a Solarian and his Asari daughter looking for a souvenir for her mother. For a while, it's just silly banter with reading things off of t-shirts and merchandise. But if you stick around for a while, you realize that he doesn't really have a whole lot of life left. He's reaching the end of the Solarian's very short lifespan of about 40 years, while his wife and daughter, who are both Asari, will both live to be around 1,000. He just wants to be remembered, not just by his stepdaughter, but his wife. That's a long, long lifespan. And finally, number 1 on Tachanka.
Yeah.
A Krogan, not a big one, expresses interest in science.
Just wanna be remembered.
Science. He talks about documentaries and a video supposedly about the Citadel that they wish they could see. And a bigger Krogan just kind of crushes the smaller one's dreams, berating him, making him feel horrible about it. It's kind of a tough thing to watch, because a lot of us have been through that. And while a lot of these things that happen over the course of the Mass Effect trilogy aren't things we can physically experience because of some sort of scientific impossibility, the thing that grounds all of them are that we understand loss, sadness, worry, or even triumph. That's why these games are so able to manipulate your emotions like this. What's another part in these games that absolutely broke your
Love
heart?
those trailers.
Leave in the comments. Tell me about it. I'm interested. I mean, if any of us play these types of games, they basically want our hearts broken. I don't know why we do this. But if you enjoyed this video, also don't forget to click like. If you're not
Check out their
subscribed,
channel.
now is a great time to do so, because we upload brand new videos every single day of the week. As always, we thank you very much for watching this one. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on Game Ranks.
All right. I always do enjoy that video because it was something that really hit home. And this is why I wanted to have more Mass Effect that kind of took place during the 1 through 3 era, but I kind of wanted to have, I talk about this briefly in my Mass Effect playthrough on my gaming channel. I'm a couple episodes in and I briefly touch on it, but since there's so much happening in the actual game, I'm limited to when I can actually talk about it more in depth, but I'll talk about it briefly here. The kind of thing I want to see with Mass Effect in the future is to do something different with, like, I'm going to be uploading my Lego Mass Effect video on my gaming channel as well, and I'm going to have a link in the description below here. Check it out. Really cool. Just imagine Mass Effect in Lego form, just as a Lego video game. Amazing, at least to me. And I'm thinking about the different ways Mass Effect could still work outside of Commander Shepard and outside of the writers. You could have it where it's like Mass Effect stories, or something with a cooler name, where it takes place where you follow different characters along the span of at least 2 out of the 3 games, and you just kind of follow them going through these things that kind of connect, like they all kind of connect and you don't know how at first, and it connects to certain things with the Reapers, indoctrination, to just mysteries, like just random things that all kind of connect somehow. These random characters, like one's an Asari, one's a Vorcha, one is a Quarian, just different, just different characters that we may not see as often, or may not play as, just unique new characters that may not even meet the other characters, or maybe they do at one point. Maybe they just run into them and they help them out briefly while they're, when they're not on the Normandy. It would make more sense, especially in Mass Effect 3, when there's so many characters who are just out there fighting who aren't on the Normandy who are in Mass Effect 2. So I wanted to talk about that briefly, just random things that happen. So maybe we deal with a character who's on Thessia during the attack. She's one of the few characters who actually escaped Thessia. We talk about that, like she's one of the ones who just happened to manage to escape, or maybe one of the ones who actually survived the battle. Because actually, I imagine some of them would have left during the Reaper attack, but some of them would have been like, just stand your ground. Another fight on Earth. Different, that'd be really cool too, having different people who are fighting on these planets that were taken over by Reapers, and just have these short, almost DLC episodic events, and they all kind of maybe connect, or maybe they don't connect. Maybe they're just people who are just out there fighting. And I think that'd be a really cool kind of standalone title. It's different from what we're used to, but I think it'd be really nice. So maybe it would be called Mass Effect Backstory, or my Mass Effect Side Stories, Mass Effect something stories. I think that'd be really cool. So I hope you did enjoy this video, and I love this kind of stuff. It really makes me sad that some things can't be explored due to lack of time, money, and just the fact that people don't think it will be interesting, because it's hard to take chances sometimes in the gaming industry because people never know if it's really going to be good or not. So we end up going to a lot of trends more so instead, especially when EA is in charge. So I guess that's pretty much it. Until the winter sells it again, let me know if there's any future content you'd like to see from the future, and if you want to talk to me about this whole subject, like what kind of thing you'd like to see for like a Mass Effect side story, Mass Effect backstory, what kind of name it would have, let me know. Let's get the conversation going. I'm out here, guys. Later days.